Simba, he let the hyenas take over the Pride Lands.
What?
Everything's destroyed. There's no food, no water. Simba, if you don't do something soon, everyone will starve.
When some fans think about The Lion King, they usually focus on the obvious relationships. Simba and Mufasa, Simba and Scar, Scar and the hyenas. But what about Nala and Scar? Most people don't give their connection much thought. After all, they barely interact in the movie, right? Wrong! What if I told you their relationship runs much deeper? What if Scar had more of an impact on Nala's life than we ever realized? Could there even be an unspoken family connection between them? Let's find out. At the start of The Lion King, Scar and Nala couldn't be more different. One is a bitter, scheming outcast with a chip on his shoulder. The other is a playful, adventurous cub with her whole life ahead of her. They don't even interact early on, so it's easy to assume they have nothing to do with each other. But when you look deeper, their roles in the story are actually more connected than they seem. From the moment we meet Scar, he's lurking in the shadows, literally and figuratively. He's the one lion who doesn't fit into Mufasa's golden vision of the Pride Lands. He's weak compared to Mufasa, jealous of Simba, and bitter that he'll never be king. Scar represents rejection. He's the result of being cast aside, never good enough, never given a real place in the pride. And because of that, he's full of resentment. He doesn't believe in the whole circle of life thing. He wants power for himself, no matter the cost.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Now, look at Nala, on the other hand. As a cub, she's everything Scar wasn't. Bold, energetic, full of life. She represents the future of the Pride Lands. She's a symbol of what Mufasa's rule created. A strong, thriving pride, where young lions grow up with confidence and purpose.
So are we really going? An elephant graveyard? Wow! Shh!
Even as a cub, she challenges Simba, proving she's not afraid to stand up for herself. She's tough, smart, and independent. Things that will define her later when Scar takes over. But the key difference? Unlike Scar, Nala is included. She's accepted, loved, and has a clear place in the pride. Scar never had that, which is probably part of the reason he grows to resent lions like her. At first glance, Scar and Nala are total opposites. One was an outcast from the beginning, the other was a future leader in the making. But as the story unfolds, their paths start to intertwine in unexpected ways. Scar's jealousy of Mufasa and Simba leads to the downfall of the Pride Lands. Nala, the lioness who once represented everything good about Mufasa's reign, is now forced to survive in the world Scar created. The carefree cub from the beginning of the movie? She's now the only one who can do something. By the time we see Nala again as an adult, she's not just a playful cub anymore. She's a warrior. Scar's reign has turned the Pride Lands into a wasteland, and she's been living in that nightmare. While the other lionesses have been forced into submission, Nala refuses to accept Scar's rule. She doesn't just sit back and wait for things to change. She acts. Think about it. We never see another lioness stand up to Scar the way Nala does. Sure, the others hate him, but they seem beaten down, too exhausted and hopeless to fight back. But Nala? She leaves. She risks everything to find help because she knows things won't change unless someone makes them change. And that's what makes her so dangerous to Scar. She's the only one in the pride who actively resists him. She's not afraid of him, and she refuses to let his rule destroy everything her family built. That alone makes her one of the most powerful characters in the movie. When she finds Simba, she doesn't just beg him to come back. She demands it. She's not interested in excuses, and she definitely isn't impressed by his whole Hakuna Matata lifestyle. She calls him out. She tells him what happened to their home. She tells him that he is the only one who can fix it.
Simba!
And there's nothing you can do about it. So why worry?
Because it's your responsibility!
Well, what about you? You left?
I left to find help!
At first, Simba resists. He's still running from his past, still convinced he's not the king his father wanted him to be. But Nala refuses to let him hide. She's strong enough to stand up to Scar, and now she's strong enough to stand up to Simba too. And in the end, she's the reason he finally stops running. She's the one who makes him realize that his family, his home, his destiny, they all still matter. She reignites the fire in him, the same way Scar's cruelty ignited it in her. This is where things come full circle. Scar tried to take control of Nala, to rule over her the way he ruled over everyone else. But instead of breaking her, he made her into the lioness who would inspire Simba to take him down. Scar thought he had won when he became king, but by destroying the Pride lands, by forcing Nala to become a leader, by making her desperate enough to go find Simba, he was actually signing his own death sentence. Nala wasn't just Simba's love interest, she was the spark that brought the fire back to the Pride lands. And Scar, he never saw it coming. Let's backtrack for a bit. Scar probably didn't think twice about Nala when he took over the Pride lands. He was too busy basking in his own villainy, ruining everything Mufasa built, and surrounding himself with hyenas. But whether he realized it or not, he played a massive role in shaping Nala's future. Think about it. Before Scar's reign, life in the Pride lands was good. Plenty of food, a strong leader, a peaceful pride. Then Scar slithered onto the throne, and suddenly everything went downhill. The land dried up, prey disappeared, and the lionesses were struggling to survive. And who had to do something about it? Nala. If Scar hadn't turned the Pride lands into a wasteland, Nala would have never left to find help. No Scar, no journey, no reunion with Simba. No reunion, no happy ending. In a twisted way, Scar was the catalyst for the entire story. Weird to think about, huh? Now let's get to the meat of this thing. Could Nala and Scar be related? I know. The movie never spells it out, but let's break this down. Here's the thing. Lion prides don't work the way most people think. In the wild, a dominant male usually fathers most of the cubs in the pride. And in The Lion King, Mufasa is clearly the leader, but we never actually see him interact with Nala like a father. Meanwhile, her mother, Serafina, is just there. We never learn who Nala's father is. Suspicious, right? So if Mufasa wasn't her father, who else could be? Scar? Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it actually makes a weird kind of sense. Scar was still part of the Pride, and even though he was the outcast, it doesn't mean he couldn't have fathered a cub. Of course, Disney would never confirm something that dark, but they also never confirm who Nala's father actually is, which just leaves the door wide open for theories. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Scar spent his whole life scheming for power, trying to control everyone around him, but in the end he was the reason Nala became strong enough to take him down. Let's face it, if Scar wasn't such a terrible king, Nala probably would have stayed in the Pride lands. She never would have left, never would have gone on that journey, never would have found Simba, but because Scar was so awful, she had to step up. She had to become a leader. Think about how bold she was when she finally found Simba. She didn't just beg him to come back. She demanded it. She called him out. She didn't back down. And where did she get that fire? Maybe it was always there, but it was Scar's reign that forced her to bring it to the surface. This is where it gets really interesting. Scar didn't just make Nala stronger by default. He kind of trained her without even realizing it. He ruled through fear, so she learned how to resist. He tried to take everything from her, so she learned how to fight. He made her feel powerless, so she learned how to take power. In a way, Scar was the challenge Nala needed to grow into the lioness she was meant to be, and in the end, she used everything she learned under his rule to overthrow him. Poetic justice, don't you think?